Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to a player that seems to have stolen the hearts of Toronto Raptors fans, and yes, that's Isaiah Hartenstein, who, if you look back to some of our comment sections at Raptors Reddit, news articles being posted, people are looking at him as the potential missing piece to the Toronto Raptors roster going into next season. And I'm going to break down in this video if the Raptors will or could potentially sign him this offseason as, you know, their missing piece in free agency, and should they? Is it the smart move for this team to do? And we got to start off with who the heck is Isaiah Hartenstein, because outside of his wife popping up on my For You page on TikTok, I didn't really know much about this guy. I didn't know too much about him. Played for I believe the Rockets, the Cavs, and he's bounced around the league. He's a 7-footer, about 250 pounds, and he's a guy that's really not taken a major leap by any means at any point in his career, but he was a promising young prospect that seems to have started to put it all together last season for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And if you look at his stats, if you look at his stat line, again, it's nothing that's going to absolutely blow you away, right? He started off in Houston, then was sent to Denver, and then sent to Cleveland. But when he was on the Cleveland Cavaliers, with a little bit of extra minutes, he averaged about 8 points per game, 6 rebounds, so 33% from the three-point line, but that number might be a little bit deceiving considering the fact that he only took, I believe, under 1 a game. So that's just you know, the three-point shot, it's not there from all indications. Researching this guy, watching him play, he doesn't have that jumper, that smooth jumper yet, but he's definitely a competent big. And I believe the main reason that he's sort of, Raptors fans have fallen in love with the idea of Hartenstein is he's a guy that's a true 7-footer. He's a legitimate big man, and, you know, I'm high on Precious Achiuwa. I think he could potentially be our starter as we move into next season. Khem Birch has obviously been great to us, the perfect backup for this team, but both players are 6'8" and 6'9" respectively. So if you're going up against the taller, the longer guys, we played all small ball last season, and I'd make the argument that it didn't work because we didn't have true centers. Yes, it was small ball, but OG Anunoby, while he can play center, his value is much more limited playing that position because his best asset is playing on the wing, on ball defense. That's where you'll get the most out of him. You know, unless in spot minutes and, you know, the postseason or you run those depth lineups, then you can run him out there at the 5 for certain stretches for certain positions. However, over the course of a regular season, OG's better suited for the 3, and then our other options just weren't viable. And Aaron Baines, you know, hoping he recovers well from his injury, but he just really didn't have it there for this Toronto Raptors squad. Haven't played this pylon animation in a little while. And then obviously Alex Len, and then Khem Birch came in while we were tanking. So it's you know, this team didn't really have a center rotation. I'm comfortable with the Precious Khem Birch sort of 2 guys, but I see why a lot of people are eyeing this Hartenstein guy. And, you know, I went on a little divergent, but a little segue there, but Hartenstein, he's a player that, sure, his stats don't indicate a lot, but he does have some strengths as a shot blocker, and he averages over a shot blocked a game. He's a guy that can finish around the rim. He has decent touch. He's pretty mobile for a 7-footer. He's not one of those guys that's gonna straight up just get cooked every time in the pick and roll. So there's a lot of positives to sort of look at Isaiah and see, you know, okay, can he come in, play, be an insurance big to our 2 guys that we think are going to be in our rotation? And he also fits the timeline of this Toronto Raptors team. At only 23 years old, that's a guy that, you know, you can work him, you can develop him. If he still needs a little bit of practice, a little bit of work, at 8 points per game, he's probably going to be a roster guy, but you could push him down to the G League if he's not getting minutes and work him out there. So I see why a lot of people are hyped on him. He's an interesting piece. He's an interesting guy to potentially bring in. The jump shot could potentially be promising. We know Nick Nurse loves to get all of our bigs that come in and let them fire off from 3. And 33% on a small sample size, sure, it's something to build off of. It's something to work with. However, I don't think we probably are going to do it. And the main reason I don't think we're going to do it is because, by all accounts, it seems like we're going to trade Goran Dragic to the Dallas Mavericks in return for a package that involves Moses Brown, who himself is a 7-foot-plus guy with long arms, block shots, gets rebounds, and even though I think Hartenstein's probably more polished at this point in his career, Moses Brown's a little bit more exciting. He's a guy that, you know, it could go horribly wrong, but it could go exceptionally great. If you can bring in a Moses Brown with that length, that size, his development, a guy that didn't have high projections coming into the draft. I believe he was an undrafted player and now is looking like a shining young prospect. I know Oklahoma City fans have said there are a lot of holes still in this game, but as I mentioned with Hartenstein, Moses Brown, the development can happen with him. The chin up, get him in this Raptor system. It could be a really exciting, perfect place for him to thrive and play behind Kem Birch and Precious Achiuwa for a season or two and let him develop there. So if we trade for Moses Brown, I don't think there's any chance we go after Hartenstein, but if that's all smoke and mirrors, if Dragic is still on this roster, we don't trade for Moses Brown or any other center, Dwight Powell. There's been rumored deals with Dragic all over the league, but I still don't see it happening because you look at this roster right now and They signed a lot of guys to deals that, there's going to be a lot of competition happening in camp. And if you didn't see our previous video on Shvi Mikhailuk, he's likely going to be signed. He signed a 2-year deal with this Toronto Raptors team, and I think he is coming in with a 2-year contract. I know it's not guaranteed. He still will have to work out in camp. I think he could potentially squeak into the rotation, especially if Dragic is gone. So I think Shvi is another roster spot that's going to be eaten up, and that means Yuta Watanabe, Freddie Gillespie, Isaac Bonga, and yes, it's pronounced Isaac. People flame me every time. I willingly give myself the what's it called? Gotta get the animations playing properly. And I can't even play the Charles Barkley name segment. I did all of that. Can't play the name segment, but his name's Isaac, not Isaac Bonga. He's from Germany, so that's how it's pronounced over there. Not to blame, but when we get a pronunciation right, we've been trying hard to get it proper, but. Yeah, that's his name. But Isaac Bonga coming in. Sam Decker, who's still on a camp deal. Those are 4 guys. I believe I'm missing one more player who's on those camp deals. But those are a lot of guys that are going to be competing for those roster spots. I believe and Ishmael Wainwright. Ishmael Wainwright is also competing for a roster spot. So, with all these guys coming in, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I think Bonga is going to be sent to the G League. I think that's where he's going to come to develop. I don't see him making the roster spots unless he shocks players at teams at camp. Sam Decker, the 45% three-point shooting is very encouraging, and I just like to see what would happen with that. You get shooters like that at that magnitude. I know people are high on Shvi's potential as a three-point shooter. He definitely has a better all-around game than Sam Decker, at least from what I've seen from Sam Decker is much improved from his previous NBA days. But, it's tough to really gauge how strong a player is in these European leagues. But we know the jump shot translates. I'm not sure about the rest of his game right now. He's solid in between, but I think Shvi's another level than Sam Decker at this point. But he's a guy that I think is an intriguing player to see. Give him some minutes, see how it pans out. Ishmael Wainwright is obviously the next PJ Tucker he's been compared to. So he's going to be fighting. He's going to be dogging for those minutes. And he also was given a 2-year contract, but again, not guaranteed after training camp. And then Yuta Watanabe, I think everyone is in love with for the hustle, the defense, the energy, his attitude that he brought to his tenure as two-way position with the team last season. I'm sure maybe Ishmael, maybe he's one of those guys will be put on a 2-way. And then Freddie Gillespie, who... researching this article, seeing where this Hartenstein love came from, there's a Raptors report article. I'm not sure the specific publication, but I was reading an article about how Hartenstein can maybe replace Freddie Gillespie. I think with the depth of guys we have in training camp right now, I don't think there's a spot for Gillespie to be replaced. I don't think he's going to be on this roster. I don't think he's going to be on the team. Love the guy's personality, singing party in the USA, but I don't think his spot's going to be someone to replace. I think it will have to be a Utah, because I think as Freddie Gillespie's gone, I'm not saying he's a surefire roster spot. He had a brutal summer league, but we have a Utah, we have Ishmael, we have all the guys that I just named, Bonga, who's competing, Sam Decker. So having another guy inserted into that mix, who I assume is looking for a proper roster spot, because I'm sure a lot of teams would like for him to be brought in as an insurance big man. I think he'd be signed by now, averaging 8 points per game for the Cleveland Cavaliers, but he's probably want to come to this team looking for an opportunity to play, and maybe he sees that as, okay, the small ball unit of duo of Kem Birch and Precious Achiuwa might not work out. Hartenstein can get that opportunity. Maybe that's appealing to him, but he'd have to overtake those guys that I know a lot of Raptors fans are high on, and I think they should be higher on them than than Hartenstein potentially coming in. So that's my reason against it. Now, I see where people are coming from when they say, yes, we need a 7-footer to build the wall against the NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks. KD, James Harden, Kyrie Irving. You need someone to protect the paint. I think Precious Achiuwa and Khem Birch are going to be capable of doing that. But if you don't believe it, then maybe a Hartenstein would be an interesting fit. Get the insurance, our new insurance pylon, but hopefully not a pylon in that sense. But if Moses Brown is coming, I think it's completely written off. But I just wanted to sort of make this video because he's been a talked about free agent. I've seen people say he's the missing piece. He's the guy that, could really help ensure this Raptors are going to have a bounce back season next year. And I think all of that's a little bit of a stretch, even though I might throw it in the title, throw it as a question mark. But it's a stretch. But that's my take. Might get some flame for it because I know a lot of people are high on this guy in the comment sections and whatnot. But let me know what you guys think. Am I crazy for not thinking we should go after Hartenstein or even maybe give him a camp deal? See how it works out. Obviously, the Masai Ujiri, Nick Nurse, they have better insights than I do on YouTube. They get to watch the practices, the ins and outs, their hard workingness and all that. We just get to see the games and the highlight footage. But I don't know. Am I crazy? Am I, or should we just bring him in because his wife's a cool TikToker? Just like Sam Decker, the wives will go at it with the public figureness in their signings. I'm just rambling out here to end off this one, but you're the best to make this far. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, all that cool stuff. Subscribe to Raptors Digest. Appreciate it. We're trying to build up this following as we head into the new season. Now on the road, what's the road to now? The road to 25K subscribers. So we'll push to it. We're pushing to it. But anyway, so we're going to, Rick and I have been chatting about that giveaway too for 20K. But I guess we're a little bit pushed beyond that. But we're still going to start doing some fun stuff, some creative things heading into next season. So anyways, enough of me rambling. You guys are the best. I'm signing out. Cheers.